What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? For most of us, it's to turn off our alarm that's going off, and then oh look, our phone is already in our hands. Why don't we check our DMs on Instagram? Or look if we have any likes or comments on Facebook? Or see what's happening on TikTok? Why is it that we do this? It's because it feels good. And we're giving our brain an immediate dopamine spike to start the day. We're essentially like those people at casinos who constantly just play the slots all day. They're getting their dopamine spike from pulling the lever down on the slot, the same way we get our dopamine spike from checking to see if we have any notifications or comments on our social media. Social media was designed to make us feel more connected to each other. But one of the main drawbacks of it is we now have cell phone addictions, social media addictions, and an even greater addiction to immediate gratification. As soon as we open up Instagram, or as soon as we open up TikTok, our brain is getting flooded with dopamine. It's going to make us feel good and accepted. 100% of the time, my least productive days are the ones where I have access to my phone and I have access to my social media from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. If we don't monitor these things and keep them under control, it gets out of hand pretty quickly.
Look at this. Oh baby. Oh baby. In 2018, the global daily social media usage was at 136 minutes. That's not even including all the dumb shit that we're also doing on our phone. That's literally just social media. We're watching about 2 hours per day. What I wanted to do was see how much of an effect social media is having on my life. So I decided to get rid of it for 30 days.
So what are the rules to this challenge here? Pretty much I deleted Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and Tinder from my phone, so I have no access to them on my phone. Most of these things weren't actually a big deal, but Instagram is what always gets me. So that's looking at people's stories, going through the news feed, and then also sliding in people's DMs is a big problem of mine, and that's the main time waster thing that just like, it's like where I get like the most dopamine spike. It's just like check my DMs, check my messages on Instagram, right? So since Instagram is the main problem, I also block that from my computer, so I have no access to it. So I use an app called Cold Turkey Blocker, which means every time I go to it, I'm just gonna get a motivational quote. So I have no chance to see Instagram until I re-download the app. Now for my job, for my company, I still need to use messaging features on WhatsApp and Facebook, so I'm gonna leave the Facebook and Messenger app up on my phone, but when I need to use Facebook on my computer, I have another plugin called Newsfeed Eradicators, which pretty much, again, it just replaces your newsfeed with a motivational quote. So pretty much every time I try to do something that I'm not supposed to do, I have a motivational quote. The final thing, this isn't part of the challenge, this is kind of something that I already have been doing for the last little while, which is using this cold turkey blocker. I actually have my Reddit and my Instagram are blocked off from 9 to 5 every single Monday to Friday, so that I can't access those things at work at all. Then the final thing is I turn my phone on airplane mode at night right before bed, and then I don't have access to any of my messages or anything in the morning, so I try to keep that on airplane mode until about lunchtime, I would say 1 or 2 p.m. And I'm gonna try and do that for as many days as possible. This is kind of something that I've already been doing and experimenting with, and it's fucking awesome. So I would recommend this. So those are the rules. Let's see how it goes. So what's it like without Instagram, without Facebook, without Snapchat, without anything? To be honest, it's not that bad. It's kind of easy. The main thing about it is like when you don't have access to anything on your phone, is you get a chance to actually think. You can start plotting things. Like I can feel like a day where I don't have any access to my phone. I'm not looking at anything going on Instagram. I'm not getting any messages. I'm not getting any of this. Like I actually do feel nothing super profound, but I do feel, oh, this is a kind of thought that I wouldn't have before, because my mind would be filled with this dumb shit of like, what's my friend saying? What kind of drama do I have going on in my life? Whatever it is that your phone does to you, where you're just like looking at stimulus and stuff. When you don't have that, you do realize that you have a couple little insights. Nothing super profound just yet. You can feel a functioning brain. Like I can feel that I actually have a functioning brain for once, you know? That's the pretty cool thing about looking at this so far. While I have you here, I wanted to talk on this interesting thing from a book called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. And what I want to talk to you about is why we have so much shit on our phone. In the book, Cal says, when people consider specific tools or behaviors in their digital lives, they tend to focus only on the value each produces. That's being entertainment from Instagram or TikTok, or staying up to date on news from Twitter. How much of your time and attention must be sacrificed to earn the small profit of occasional connections and new ideas that is earned by cultivating a significant presence on Twitter. This is why clutter is dangerous. It's easy to be seduced by the small amounts of profit offered by the latest app or service, but then forget its cost in terms of the most important resource we possess, the minutes of our life. More often than not, the cumulative cost of the non-crucial things we clutter our lives with can far outweigh the small benefits each individual piece of clutter promises. And the book also talks about the exact correlation between teen depression and social media, which is a hot combination at the moment. It says that rates of teen depression and suicide have skyrocketed, with much of this due to a seemingly massive increase in anxiety disorders, which is something that I realized that I had at the beginning of 2019, and it sucked. It sucked. So what instigated these changes? These shifts in mental health correlate exactly to the time when smartphone use became ubiquitous. The defining trait of iGen is that they grew up with phones and social media and don't remember a time before constant access to the internet. They're paying a price for this distinction with their mental health. Much of this deterioration can be traced back to their phones. So the social media that's supposed to make us feel more connected, which is one of the strongest correlators of good mental health, is being connected to your fellow people, it's doing the opposite of that to us, and it's making us feel more disconnected from others than ever before.
6 months later.
Pretty much getting rid of my social media was actually rather easy to do. The main thing I noticed was usually I'll take stories of things that I'm finding interesting or that I'm up to, and there was a couple parts in the first few days where I was like, damn, I wish I could take a story of this. But then I realized for the most part, I'm just kind of taking stories just to put something up, and I'm not actually doing it for any reason. And outside of that, I did notice after, like, for the first maybe week or something like that, I would open up my phone and go to look at Instagram, the little folder I have for my social media, and there's just nothing there. So I'm just like, fuck, like, it's just a habit I've built in. So after a little while, that went away. So habits are just things that you repeatedly do. If you repeatedly open your phone, there's just no Instagram, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna stop doing it. And that's exactly what happened pretty much. But more important than the social media that I found was simply getting rid of your phone entirely until lunchtime, 1, 2 p.m. as long as you could. And then you just have like the full morning of just doing good shit for yourself. Like you're doing all your work stuff, you're doing all your personal stuff, you get all your morning routine out of the way. So I would say more important than even getting rid of your social media would simply just be controlling your phone usage, because I did notice the days where, say, I had some phone call or something to make in the morning, or I just decided I was gonna use my phone that day. Pretty much those days were the least productive for me, and I would find that I would still be on my phone. I wouldn't be on social media because I don't have it. But what I did have was, I do have the internet. I have access to the internet, so I'd just be going through random websites. I'd be going on Reddit and just looking at dumb shit all day. So it kind of takes away from the entire purpose of the exercise, because I'm looking to get my focus back, get my time back, but I'm just, when I have access to my phone, it's just like constantly just taking my whole day away. So that's one of the things that I found very interesting. Was more important than the boycotting of social media is the controlling of your access to your telephone. Another thing, when I had no access to the internet, I would be sitting there, I would be actually bored. And this is something that we don't really have anymore. We aren't bored, ever. As soon as you're with friends and there's a lull in the conversation, everyone just kind of pulls out their phone. As soon as you're in a line, get your coffee at Starbucks or something like that, and then you look around you and everyone has their phone out and you have your phone out. So one cool exercise would be to do, like, the next time you're in line at the grocery store, just stand there. Just stand there, look around, look at all the people around you, and just be like, okay, everyone here is just, we're all avoiding boredom. And I noticed that when I had my phone on airplane mode, I had no access to anything. I didn't have messages, I didn't have social media, I didn't have access to the internet. What I did was I actually felt bored, and I could actually feel my brain start churning a little bit. You know, there's like thoughts that usually I wouldn't get because I'm just in the middle of, like, I just am bombarded by stuff. All these dumb fucking ideas are coming at me. I got girl drama, I got drama with the friend group, I got whatever type of drama or whatever kind of thinking about, like emails that I have in, like all these issues. Usually that is what's kind of on your mind. You're always thinking about checking your phone and be like, okay, like, let me see if there is something that I missed, that I need to answer, if there's someone texting me, blah, blah. Once that thing is gone and you're just sitting there, you're bored, and you're just like, okay, I'm just thinking, you get a lot of nice little insights where your brain is finally functioning and it's finally working. So that was one of the major benefits of doing this whole thing. And so I didn't really miss social media for the entire time, except for maybe the last week. I was like, damn, I'm gonna get Instagram back pretty soon, and I'm pretty excited about it. And that was one of the things where I was like, okay, like, I did actually kind of miss this. But here's the thing about it. When I got Instagram back, I had maybe 20 missed DMs. Like, I didn't really miss out on too much. It took me maybe 15 minutes to catch up, and that was it. Outside of that, it was very nice to be able to look at memes again for the first time, because I was like, one of my hobbies is pretty much like, I like to look at memes and laugh at them and share them with people, but I wasn't able to do that for the entire month. And finally I was able to do it, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed this. Like, I was like looking at my phone, laughing, like having a good time, just looking at funny memes. But overall, the main thing, I didn't really miss anything. Life went on without me. There was no urgent thing that I missed from my DMs from not being on Instagram, and we're not really missing out on anything by not partaking in Instagram. Main lesson is, I wasn't really missing anything, and the amount of time I spent on my phone, which is like sometimes upwards of 2 hours just on Instagram, just on social media, is fucking crazy and completely useless, because I'm losing 2 hours per day, which is, let's do some quick math. That's like 2 weeks or something. My math is horrible, but that's around 2 weeks per year that I could be spending doing something else, but I'm just on Instagram looking at memes, sending messages that aren't very important, things like that. So one thing, the most important thing that I've got out of this is that we need to actually police ourselves, because no one's gonna police us for us. No one cares if you're on your phone or you're not on your phone, right? No one's gonna sit there and be like, oh, like, you're not gonna achieve your goals, you're not gonna do this, your brain is literally melting because you can't fucking think anymore because of social media. No one's really going to say this to you, so we have to do this ourselves. We need to by ourselves be like, okay, I'm going to only use it for this many times, and set rules for yourself, right? So the one that I liked is no phone until lunchtime. That was a very good rule, and that was probably one of the major benefits that I found. The unfortunate thing is that your phone is actually useful. There's a lot of cool shit. We have access to the entirety of human knowledge in the palm of our hand. This is something that we've never experienced before in all of human history, but we're able to do it. We have everything that anyone has ever learned. We can look it up pretty much, and it's a very powerful tool. We can drive somewhere and not get lost. We can do all sorts of things. We can call people. We can talk to people from across the world. There's no shortage of amazing things that we can do with our phones. But the thing is, if we don't police our use of them, there's so much shit that we can do, and a lot of shit is designed to suck us into it, right? So we've been programmed over the course of years and years and years by people kind of constantly making little adjustments to these apps to make them as addictive as possible. And it's gonna rob us of our life, it's gonna rob us of our creativity, it's gonna rob us of our ability to think. I'm not saying we should avoid it entirely and we should completely get rid of our phones and switch back to the flip phone days, because there are significant uses of phones, but we need to be able to police ourselves, because no one's gonna do it for us. So that is the final thing that I would leave you with. And let me know what you think about this. Have you ever done a social media detox? And if so, what was your realizations? What did you realize? And outside of that, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell icon, as we do more silly shit all the time.